Wave out there. Is Dennis acting on there? Miss it, Phyllis, and then,
Phyllis and
what's the roll call in a minute there, because I can't tell how many.
it looks like nine. No. Eight.
I'm gonna
Attendance.
put this on here, make everyone happy.
Eight or
It's
eight
all
or
possible
nine.
to get COVID. Okay, Chairman Swift, as the chair of the House State Fed Relations and Veteran Affairs Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with House Rule 67 and the governor's emergency order, number 12, person to accept the order 2020-04. This public body is authorized to meet electronically. This is a public hearing on bills referred to this committee. Actually, it's not, it's executive session. Please note that there is no physical location for members of the public to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that all members of the committee and select legislative staff have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the Zoom electronic meeting platform. And the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting by the Zoom platform or by the telephone. All necessary access information has been made available in the House calendar and to the electronic calendar on the general code website. The notice of this meeting, notice complies with House rules and RSA 91-J. Anyone who has a problem accessing the meeting should call 271-3600 or email hcs@legislate.leg.state.nh.us. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. I want to introduce the staff that are on the meeting, assisting us, which is Brad Greenman. He's our committee researcher. Please note, taken during the meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance by the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Baldessaro.
Yes.
David Binford.
Yes. Present.
Estafia Buras.
Present.
Myself. Brody Deshay.
Here.
Manny Espitia.
Here, present.
William Foster.
Here. Yes.
I think so.
Willis
Should be
Griffith.
Bradley's in charge of the reporting part. Bradley's in charge of the.
Willis Griffith.
Representative Griffith has a sub today. It's Representative Art Ellison.
Art Ellison.
Present.
Thank you. Tina Harley. Here. Phyllis Katzkors. Here, yes. Here's Phyllis. Tony LaBranche.
Here.
Thank you. Stacy Marie Lawton.
I'm present.
John Levitt.
Present.
Dennis Acton. Dennis Acton.
Dennis Acton, are you on?
Yes, I am. I just got the link. Just got in.
Okay, great.
Okay, do we have your picture? We have to be able to see you in person. Are you on in person?
There we go.
Okay,
Good morning. Signing in from Fremont.
Thank you.
Linda Massimia.
Here.
Michael Moffett.
In the house.
Israel Piedra.
Here.
Skip Rollins.
Here.
Amanda Elizabeth Toll.
Here.
Lawrence Opowitz.
Here.
And Matthew Wilhelm.
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you.
All.
Yeah.
What's our numbers?
There are,
We have 21.
Yep.
Okay. All right, good morning. What I'm gonna do is start off with the pledge there, and I have Representative Tina Farley lead us in the pledge.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to do a moment of silence for those fellow warriors that are in harm's way and those that made the ultimate sacrifice. Okay, that's right. Okay, I want to open up the House executive session. We're going to be starting off with HB 112. And Representative Brody, you had your hand.
Yeah, I would, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for recognizing me. I'd like to motion, ITL for HB 112. Reason being is because.
Time out. Do we have a second? Representative Vincent?
Yeah. I wish to second that motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, I was a little overzealous there. The reason being for the ITL motion is because immigration is handled by the federal government under the Commerce Clause. All immigration regulations are handled by the federal government. And a lot of this information, as was pointed out during the public hearing, is already public information. It can already be compiled by our nonprofits, right? So school districts, municipal governments, and even other nonprofits publish information on how primary earners within families, how it affects if they're deported. So all this information, all this research can already be done. It doesn't need to be paid for by New Hampshire taxpayers. And even if we did such a study, there's not much our state can do because it's out of our jurisdiction. This is something that would have to be handled by our federal government. So seeing as this is a federal issue and seeing as this information can already be compiled by any nonprofit anywhere in the country can compile our information. I find I don't think the bill really services our constituents as some might intend.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? No, I'm trying to. You're gonna have to help me out here, Brody, because my computer's not working. And let me know who has their hand up to speak, because I can't see from here. I see there's a hand up, I can't tell.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Representative Lawrence Welkowitz from Keene. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Great. This is a final plea to consider this important bill. To provide context, I am a founding member of two of those nonprofit organizations, that the Keene Immigration and Refugee Project and Project Home here in Southwest New Hampshire. I have a lot of difficulty finding that type of information that was referenced here. For context, I'm also a New Hampshire licensed clinical psychologist, and I say this to let you know that I've personally seen the economic and psychological consequences of ICE detention and deportation of primary breadwinners in New Hampshire families, and I do think we have a role to play here. I'd like to just briefly tell you, and I will keep my remarks within 3 minutes, I promise.
If I may, we're in executive session. The 3-minute rule can go away there. Forget about that. We respect what you have to say, so if you're going to do 4 or 5 minutes, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to just tell you very briefly about the story of the Ayala family of New Hampshire. This story happened a couple of years ago. It was widely covered in the New Hampshire press and on WMUR. It drew hundreds of people to the Keene Public Library on Thanksgiving Day in support of this family. Ayala was born in Central America. He came to the U.S. as a child and never became a U.S. citizen. He is the father of 4 children, all born in the U.S., all U.S. citizens. He's a hardworking fellow. He supported his family, which never relied on government services or handouts. One snowy day, his car broke down, I think in Milford, and he sought help from people in the neighborhood, one of whom called the police. He was identified as a non-U.S. citizen, ultimately sent to an ICE detention facility in Boston, Without the primary breadwinner, the oldest son, a high school student, increased his work hours, as did the mother. One of the children who I personally investigated had a particularly rough time, missed his dad terribly. His grades began to suffer in school. Without the dad, the family had to rely on services from the town, the school, the state. I talked with the school counselor who told me that 2 of the children in the family had been doing fine until the father was taken away, requiring all sorts of intervention and school services, IEP, and so on. Taking Mr. Ayala from his family not only created a psychological damage to the kids, but it was a bad economic call for the state of New Hampshire. A hardworking guy making a living, supporting his kids and wife one moment, a burden to the state the next after separating him from his family of American citizens. So while I'd like you to open your heart to this family's plight, I'd like to say practically that this type of separation is bad business for New Hampshire. We have critical workforce problems, from finding someone to, you can't find someone right now to repair your roof in the middle of the winter in Southwest New Hampshire. I know that personally. If you have a leak in your roof, to high-tech firms upstate in the Lakes region who are unable to attract IT professionals. We desperately need to increase our workforce here in New Hampshire. Deporting breadwinners who are parents to children who are American citizens is not going to help. If you're concerned about the economic consequences, and if you can open your heart to the plight of these families, then please consider voting in favor of HB 112. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Are there any other hands up? I see a hand up in the corner. Who's that?
Manny
Who?
Espieta, Representative Espieta.
Representative Espieta.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Espitia. No worries. Everybody fumbles the last name. But I just wanted to also raise my objection to the ITL. And I just would like to really echo what my colleague, Representative Walkowicz said. You know, I think while I think it would show an imperative on behalf of the state if we were to analyze what some of the resources we have to use for when a breadwinner is deported from. And you know, a lot of families here are mixed status families. They're not just single. Not everyone in the family is undocumented. We have family members who are in the process of receiving visas or who are already citizens. So it's not a black or white issue. It is immigration in this country is a very gray issue where it is not just, there's this group and then there's this group. No, it is much more complex than that. And I think as somebody who's worked within the system for the last couple of years, I want to make sure that we do our due diligence in studying the effects that deportations have on family members in this state. And so I would support the overturning of the ITL to a not to pass. And like I said, this is, we have a humanitarian issue right now with what's going on with COVID and the number of homeless people, like the number of homelessness that's shooting up, the number of the mental health crisis that's going on in this, not only in the state, but in this country. And so I would really, like I said, I really urge y'all to look at changing this from an ITL to not to pass. But with that, I appreciate you. I appreciate the time.
Okay, is there anyone else that has their hand up?
No, but
Representative Schiff.
thank you for recognizing me, and I appreciate the both, the input from both the colleagues from across the aisle. But we need to remember that the question at the end of the day is about whether or not to study the issue. And while both the arguments that we just heard were very strongly, against the idea of deporting primary earners, we still have to remember that it's still a federal issue. And 2 testimonies last week explain that this data can already be compiled by any private group that's against the deportation of primary earners. And a study in the state compiling this information doesn't change the overall issue of our immigration system that's already going to be addressed by the Biden administration over the coming months. It's just to collect this information that's already available. So I think that's the biggest thing is we have to remember, do we want the state to be doing this? And is this within the state's jurisdiction? Or is this a federal issue? And should this, if any government entities can be handling it, should it be those who actually regulate immigration? I believe, in my personal opinion, a number of my colleagues, this is more of a federal issue and it should be addressed at the federal level. And I hope that someone brings some kind of language like this to Chris Pappas or to Ann Custer, Jean Shaheen, Maggie Hastings in a re-election year, so she'd probably be more than happy. That's all I have to say, I rest.
Thank you. I think I'm getting it up on my phone now, so I should hopefully be able to look at the hands there. But thank you for letting me mute this. Okay, I think I have it. Are there any more hands up? Okay. I don't see any other hands up. I'm going to speak on this here. Representative, keep an eye out in case somebody puts a hand up.
Of course, Mr. Chairman.
This bill came to us before in the past year, and of course, under the Democrat watch, it was ought to pass. But what we realized, and we already know, that the Constitution is the federalist responsibility, federal government responsibility. So in my opinion, this is a feel-good bill where we're going to get together, we're going to pay mileage to state representatives during the summer. I mean, we can't even get Democrats to come in here, and but yet they're going to meet over the summer again, I guess through Zoom or something, I don't know. But anyways, we recommended before that the taxpayer dollars, once again, per the Constitution, the federal government is responsible for all immigration enforcement matters, and custom enforcement, or ICE, comes under federal law. Everyday immigration matters, such as application processes handled by the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, or the USCIS, Customs and Border Protection, is also a player. Guard not only the U.S. border, but a broad swath of land within it, plus other points of entry such as air and seaports. The study will have no effect on New Hampshire. It will just lead back to the federal government and Constitution. Very simple. That was my blurb that I just read, that I did on the last time this bill came forward. So I can't, support this, and I support the ITL on this here because, like I said, once again, it's a feel-good type legislation, great intentions. I wish there was something we could do, but really there's not. It's a federal issue. Now with the new president, they opened up the gates to immigration. Just look at our borders. So apparently the federal government, with them in today's world, anything goes, and they're not concerned with the cost of these the taxpayers, in different cities and towns with the schools. So the federal government's on it. That's all I have. Anyone else? Okay. I don't see any other hands up to you. Okay, with that, I'm going to ask the clerk to go to a vote.
The motion is on HB 112 is ITL. And we will go to Vice Chairman Moffett.
Yes to ITL.
Yes to ITL. Okay. Dennis Acton.
Yes.
Yes. Skip Rollins.
Yes.
Myself, yes. David Binford.
Yes.
William Foster.
Yes.
Brody Deshay.
Yes.
Tina Harley.
Yes.
John Levitt.
Yes.
Linda Massimila.
No.
Israel Piedra.
No.
Estathia Buras.
Evstathia Boris, no.
Boris. Pardon me. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
If I crucify your names, please straighten me out. I certainly want to say it correctly. Thank you. Matthew Wilhelm.
No.
Manny Espitia.
No.
Willis Griffith.
Willis Griffith is not here. It's Art Ellison.
Right, Art Ellison, thank you. I'm sorry. Not a paper.
No.
Okay, thank you. Elizabeth Amanda Toll,
No.
Tony LaBranch,
No.
Stacy Marie Lawton,
No.
and Lawrence Wilkowitz.
No.
And, oh, sorry, and Chairman Baldessaro.
Yes,
Okay,
11-10.
correct, 11-10.
Does the minority have a committee report they're going to submit here today?
Yes, we do.
Okay, I appreciate if you can submit that.
Who's been authored?
Who is authoring doing the committee report?
I think it is Manny Esposito. Especia.
All right, the vice chair is doing a report that he has to submit, like who does what. Okay, I'm gonna close House Bill 112. And I will. Open up the executive session on HB 117 and Representative, do you have a motion?
I have a motion for all to pass on HB 117.
We have a motion to ought to pass and,
I'd like the motion to second that ought to pass.
okay, Representative Shays makes the second to ought to pass. I wish we could get that TV thing in closer so we can see. My phone does me no justice.
Want to just use my computer?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, Representative, do you want to speak on your ought to pass motion?
Yes, HB 117 seeks to standardize how things are done between the branches, align the state statute with DoD rules of force to ensure cohesiveness throughout the state of New Hampshire on their Department of Defense and National Guard facilities.
Okay, are there any other hands speaking up? I see something bright. Is that Representative Massanello?
No.
I see flashing going on. Okay, nobody else is looking to Representative Teixeira?
Just for some clarification, this makes it so then we're within federal regulations for the specific the use of force on any National Guard facilities. So federal government's passed legislation, we're just making it so then our National Guard facilities are within such regulations.
Okay, thank you. Once again, this bill came to us last year, was passed 14-0, and it's a no-brainer to move forward with this. And without that, if there's no other questions, I will move to the vote. Yes, the clerk to call a roll call.
This is HB 117 ought to pass, and Vice Chairman Moffett,
Yes, to OTP.
Dennis Acton,
Yes.
Phyllis Katsouris,
Yes.
Skip Rollins.
Yes.
Myself, yes. David Binford,
Yes.
William Foster,
Yes.
Rhodey Deshay,
Yes.
Tina Hurley,
Yes.
John Levitt,
Yes.
Linda Massanillo,
Yes.
Israel Pedro,
Yes.
Estathio Boris.
Yes.
Was that better?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew Wilhelm,
Yes.
Manny Especia,
Yes, and great job on that one too.
Art Ellison,
Yes.
Amanda Elizabeth Toll,
Yes.
Cody LaBranch,
Yes.
Stacy Marie Lawton,
Yes.
and Lawrence Lefkowitz.
Yes.
Thank you. That's 21. Oh, Mr. Chairman, right, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Thank you. Good Lord, I'm just gonna ask you something.
so with that, it should be 21-0.
21, yes.
Okay, without any objections, we'll put it on the consent. Does anyone object? Okay. It's on the consent calendar. Close HB 117. Just give me 1 second to catch up.
Yeah, me too.
Then, of course, Dave, Representative, did you have a vote for that? Committee report?
Yes, I will have that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You all set?
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. I'm going to open up the executive session on HB 580. And Representative Shays, you got the hand up?
Yep, I'd like to motion ITL on HB 580.
And,
I second the motion.
okay, Representative Holly seconds the motion. Representative Shay, you want to speak?
Yeah, so HB 580 has a good intent to try to bring back some constitutional conservatism to our federal government and to ensure that our state is following such, but there's many flaws with it in how we currently regulate, the federal and state government regulates our National Guard and its mobilization for duty. For example, in 1986, the US Congress passed the Montgomery Amendment, which prohibited state governors from withholding their, quote, withholding their consent to a National Guard unit's active duty outside the country because of an objection to the site, purpose, or schedule of the duty. The US Supreme Court unanimously upheld this federal statute in the 1990 case, Pepperidge versus Department of Defense. In 2006, Congress passed the 2007 National Defense Authorization Act, which gave the president the authority to mobilize National Guard units within the US without the consent of state governors. These laws and the cited Supreme Court precedent show us that the federal government has the authority to deploy National Guard units as long as such powers are mandated by the Constitution or Congress, even if it's against the governor's or the state's desire. Additionally, there's the fear that this legislation could cause the state of New Hampshire to lose federal funding for our National Guard. In Title 32 of the Federal Code, Section 108, it states, quote, if within a time fixed by the president, a state fails to comply with a requirement of this title or a regulation prescribed under this title, the National Guard of that state is barred in whole or in part, as the president may prescribe, from receiving money or any other aid, benefit, or privilege authorized by law, end quote. This means if we mandate that New Hampshire's governor withhold our National Guard units, doing so against federal code, then we could lose federal funding. So this could be a large risk, considering that the president of the United States is given a lot of authority in Title 32 of the Federal Code in withholding our funding, and the fact that this bill, because of the wording it uses the word shall. It uses the word shall for the governor. It's us imposing upon the governor a requirement to withhold National Guard units unless if the legislature or the governor feels as if they've been deployed unconstitutionally.
Okay, do we have any hands up on the screen? I don't see any hands, do you? Okay, I'm just going to pass on, just to reiterate what Representative Shea said. We pass something like this here with it'd be unconstitutional because the Supreme Court, like you said, already answered on this 9-0. With that, if there's no other entries or hands up, then I will move to a vote and ask the clerk to vote on the motion of ITL.
Yes, HB 580, IT, motion to ITL. I think I'm gonna start. Representative Baldessaro.
Well, yes, but you have to go by the.
I know, you did the last one. I'm sorry. Vice Chair Moffett.
Yes to ITL.
Okay. And Dennis Acton.
Yes.
And Phyllis Katsipores.
Yes.
Skip Rollins.
Yes.
Myself, yes. David Binford.
Yes.
William Foster.
Yes.
Rhoda Duchette.
Yes.
Tina Harvey.
Yes.
John Levitt.
Yes.
Linda Massanilla.
Yes.
Israel Pedro.
Yes.
Estathia Porras,
Yes.
Matthew Wilhelm,
Yes.
Manny Espitia,
Yes.
Art Ellis,
Yes.
Elizabeth Amanda Toll,
Yes.
Tony LaBranch,
No.
Stacy Marie Lawton,
Yes.
and Lawrence Lobowitz,
Yes.
and Chairman Paul.
Yes.
Sorry, yes. Okay, so yes, 20-1.
On the representative voted no, to ITL, will you be doing a minority report?
If I do, who do I send that to?
You'll send it to me.
Okay, thank you.
I need to know either a yes or no if possible.
I will write a minority report, yes.
I need the name.
Say, what's your name again?
This is Representative Tony LaBranch.
LABRANCH.
So this will not be on consent.
No,
Oh, could do.
You asked the representative, consent's okay, or?
no, he's writing a minority report on it, so it's like go to the, I'll object, like go to the regular calendar.
Okay.
Look it up on HCR and make a motion to table it anyways. All the time. Okay, I'm gonna close, House Bill 580, we'll get the clerk a second to get together.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, do you want my majority report?
Yes.
Thanks to the minority.
So much easier when everyone's sitting around here, so don't anyone get upset if I can't see, I'm hoping I get help. When you want to speak, to put your hand up. So I'm trying not to miss anybody, because my phone is not really showing, it's only just showing a picture of the room here, so bear with me. We all set for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay. Open executive session on HCR 1 and Representative Levesque, you have your hand up.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to ITL HCR 1.
I have a motion on the floor to ITL. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Okay. I thought I seen 3 minutes up there. That's why I was looking at the camera there. Representative Moffett seconds it. And Representative, you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Belisario. I believe that any objective weighing of these comes down heavily on the side of risks and hazards. Especially heavily does it come down so when the amendments are claimed to be necessary to get the Constitution to do what it is written to do, i.e. constrain the federal government. This benefit will obviously not be added to a constitution whose problem is the federal government is ignoring it. Yet, the proponents want us to put our very constitution at risk. In order to fix a fault that is not the Constitution's. Any such proposal needs to have weighed the risk and hazards of such a convention over against its potential for benefits, particularly for such benefits as the convention proponents promise.
Is there anyone else that's looking to speak to this bill? You see anyone up there with their hands up?
Oh, yeah, Representative Tony LaBranch.
Representative Branch.
I was going to bring forward an amendment. I'm not new to procedure. Is it too late to bring forward that
No.
amendment?
Oh, it's not too late, but we're gonna, once we take a vote, we've already got a motion on the floor to ITL. Once they vote, if the ITL fails, then next motion would be an ought to pass, and then the amendment would be able to come forward.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
I wish I had got an email on that there and let me know that. I could have read your, did you get one?
I got it.
Yeah.
I can't speak forever.
Well, let's go to the motion here before we discuss it.
8:23 in the morning. Somebody got me.
When did you send it?
8:23.
Oh, this morning?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so I was here getting set up, as you see. Okay. Anyone else looking to speak? On the motion, ITL, Representative Sherry.
Yeah, I'll say something real brief. The largest issue with the resolution is the fact that there are no unified within our Constitution. There is no established rules for how such a convention would work. So there's no established rules for how you would pass an amendment, on the floor there. There's no established rules for how many delegates each state would send. There's no established rules for how you would even establish the rules for such a convention. So it's such a gray area, and it's up to so much ambiguity. And even within these resolutions, not every single resolution is entirely the same from every state that's been trying to push for the Article 5 convention on a number of levels for a number of reasons. We're going to touch upon HCR 4 after. I think another thing too, and the chairman can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a concurrent resolution, which I believe it means it has to also go to the Senate.
There we go.
And the Senate most likely will not take up such a resolution. They have rules against it. So with that, I'll yield.
Okay, I'm gonna add to this here, especially for the freshmen, so you know, the state of New Hampshire does have a resolution on file for a balanced budget. Okay, when I was the chair a few years back, we passed that. Okay, and then of course I educated myself on the Constitution Convention, and read the Federalist papers and stuff on it, and I actually changed my whole view. Okay, on Constitution Convention. So for Rep. LaBranch, I'm not sure if you're aware, we are on file along with about 25, maybe 28 states for a balanced budget. Anyone else have anything? Do you see anyone else? I don't see any hands up. Don't see any hands up.
No,
Okay, with that, since seeing that there's no more questions on this or discussion, I'm going to ask the clerk to make the roll call on House Concurrent Resolution 1, ITL.
Right, HCR 1, motion, ITL. And Vice Chair Moffett,
Yes, ITL.
Dennis Acton,
Yes.
Phyllis Katsoulis,
Yes.
Skip Rollins.
Yes.
Myself, yes. David Binford,
No.
Foster Williams, William Foster,
Yes.
Brody DeShay,
yes.
Tina Harley,
Yes.
John Levitt,
Yes.
Linda Massanillo,
Yes.
Israel Pietro,
Yes.
Estathia Boris,
Yes.
Matthew Wilhelm,
Yes.
Manny Esposito,
Yes.
Art Ellis.
It's Ellison, yes.
Oh, excuse me,
That's all right.
sorry, Art Ellison. Yes,
Yes.
sorry. Amanda Elizabeth Toll,
Yes.
Tony LaBranch,
No.
Stacy Marie Lawton,
Yes.
Lawrence Wilkowitz.
Yes.
Okay. That's 19.
Okay.
Oh, and sorry, and
Yes.
Chairman Baldessari. Good Lord. Should I get my stuff together? 19, yeah.
On the two, will you be writing a minority report?
On its way, Chairman Baldessario.
That's the majority, right? Okay. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just sent the minority report.
Outstanding.
Wow, that's great.
Representative Branch?
Yeah.
I want to thank Representative Branch on the ball. We appreciate it. It makes life easier with all this virtual stuff.
Representative Toll has her hand raised.
Who does?
Representative Toll.
Okay, first of all, hold on, wait. I won't close it yet. Let me see what he's got. Representative Toll?
Al, Honorable Chairman, I just wanted to let you know that I sent the minority report to you for 112 as well.
My good friend Master Miller must be cracking the whip on you guys. Keep up the good work. We appreciate the team effort.
Never crack a whip.
Well, unless you're dealing with horses.
Linda just elbows.
When I'm near you, absolutely.
Thank you, Representative Toll. I'll close this executive session one. Okay, we'll give us a few seconds to get our notes together. It's a 19-2. Be on the regular calendar. Deal with me. Representative Mass Miller, on HCR one, is anyone going to be taking this on the floor?
Not that I know of, Chairman.
Okay. I don't think any Republicans are going to speak on it. You know, unless the minority is going to speak. Right now, I can tell you we're not going to fight, speak on the floor. You know, on it.
You might want to ask a Representative LaBranch because I can't speak for him.
Representative LaBranch?
I probably will not speak on the House floor to this.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Open up the executive session on HCR 4. Representative Shays, you have a motion.
Yeah, on HCR 4, I'd like to motion ITL.
We have a motion on ITL. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Yeah, the reason I'm saying I see somebody waiting up here.
Oh.
I can't tell. Did anyone put their hand up on the Democrats?
Yeah, it looks like
The second.
Representative Branch has his hand up.
Representative LaBranch, did you second that?
Yes, I will second the motion to ITL HCR 4.
Okay, we'll go Representative LaBranch, the second, because he did have his hand up that I see.
Yes, okay.
He was fast.
He was fast.
Okay, and Representative, Mr. you want to speak to your motion?
Yeah, I'd love to speak to my motion. So as previously mentioned with HCR 1, there's a large amount of ambiguity regarding adopting rules for an Article 5 convention, but I've already previously mentioned that, but I'll touch upon a different aspect for HCR 4 in regards to its content, which it does not guarantee the objective of the resolution itself and could actually have contrary results. So if you're a conservative who's concerned about the right to life, this could do the exact opposite. During Article 5 convention, any conceivable amendments can come to fruition. Any suggested constitutional amendment made by the convention can be later ratified by individual states, and if enough individual states ratify the amendments, they become adopted in our federal constitution. This hypothetical convention could suggest amendments that prevent very reasonable limits on abortion procedures, or for my pro-choice members on this committee, it could do the exact opposite too. It could have extremely stringent regulations upon abortion, which might be favorable to some but unfavorable to others. And we enter into this Article 5 convention with a lot of ambiguity for what comes out of it. So I think the best way for us to handle this kind of policy issue is for us to have debates in our House chamber, within committees, to have debates in our state Senate, to sign laws, to sign bills into law, and to then debate in our courts over the merits of such laws, not to have a debate in an Article 5 convention where there's no rules, where there's ambiguity for what will happen, where there's ambiguity to final results.
Okay, anyone else looking to speak? Any hands up out there? You don't see any? With that, let me just look at something here. Okay, since there's no one else, oh, did you have your hand up? No, okay. With that, I'll ask the roll call to take a vote on a ITL on HCR 4.
Okay. Yes, Bill HCR 4, motion is ITL. We'll call Vice Chairman Moffett.
Yes to ITL.
Dennis Acton,
Yes.
Phyllis Katsouris,
Yes.
Skip Rollins.
Yes.
Myself, yes. David Binford,
Yes.
William Foster,
Yes.
Brody Duche.
Yes.
Duche, sorry. Tina Hurley. John Levitt,
Yes.
Linda Massanilla,
Yes.
Drew Pietro,
Yes.
Esthethia Boris,
Yes.
Matthew Wilhelm,
Yes.
Nettie Esthethia,
Yes.
Art Ellison,
Yes.
Amanda Elizabeth Toll,
Yes.
Tony LaBranch,
Yes.
Stacy Marie Lawton,
Yes.
and Lawrence Welkowitz.
Yes.
And Chairman Balthasar.
Yes,
Oh my God.
that's 21.
Oh my gosh.
21-0. Okay. Any objection to this going on a consent? Without any objection, it will be on the consent calendar. So you have your.
Yeah, I just didn't think we were gonna pass this unanimously, so I gotta make a quick little edit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to close the executive session on HCR 4. I'm going to give the clerk a few seconds to catch up.
Here, Mr. Chairman, do you want to sign the majority report for HB?
Yes.
Right.
Second.
Yeah, do you want to give that to me?
No, I still have to sign it. No.
Oh, okay, all right.
I get it, I have to read it.
This is we're done.
Papers. Kevin. The executive session on HR 9 and Representative Bedford, do you have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion of ought to pass on HR 9.
I'll
We have-
second it.
Who seconded?
Representative Massimilla.
Okay. And we got that Representative Maxwell seconds it and Representative Bedford for.
Yes, HR 9 is a resolution which supports and recognizes both the state and federal authority and the relationship between the two, with the powers that are not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, and are reserved by the states respectively, which ultimately is to the people.
Anyone else? Who's,
Yes, Chairman Baldessaro.
yes, I see a hand up, we're just waiting. Who is?
Representative Welkowitz.
Okay, Representative Welkowitz, go ahead.
I just want to make one comment, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I just want to remind all of us about principles of federalism, that there are amendments that are not mentioned in any of these documents about amendments that were adopted after the Civil War. It's Black History Month, so it's important to mention amendments 13, 14, and 15, which freed the slaves, gave blacks the right to vote, prevented poll taxes, and preserved the Union. So we have to work with both state and federal guidelines, and this is why I'm opposing this amendment. Thank you.
Representative Baldessaro.
Yes.
I withdraw my second because I thought we were doing HR 8.
We already did HR 8.
Yes, we did HR 8 in our last
HR 8
meeting.
was done last week. I mean,
Okay. On our list that we got for executive session on for 212, HR 8 was there, so that's why I seconded it.
That was,
So
it was supposed to be HR 9.
Okay, so I will not second HR 9.
That's fine. We have Representative Levette seconds HR 9. Anyone else wish to speak? Can you see anyone hand up? I don't know if I'm missing. I don't want to miss anyone. Get beat up later in the paper. Okay. Although I like the challenge. Anyways, okay, so without seeing that there's no hands, no one else looking to speak, HR 9, I'll ask the clerk to take a vote on OTP.
Okay, this is a roll call vote on HR 9. Motion is OTP. And Vice Chairman Moffett,
Yes to OTP.
Dennis Acton,
Yes.
Phyllis Katsouris,
Yes.
Skip Rollins.
Yes.
Myself, yes. David Binford,
Yes.
William Foster,
Yes.
Brody Duchesne,
Yes.
Tina Harlan,
Yes.
John Levitt,
Yes.
Linda Massimilla,
No,
Israel Pedra,
No.
Rita Forrest,
No.
Matthew Wilhelm,
No.
Betty Espitia,
No.
Art Ellison,
No.
Amanda Elizabeth Toll,
No.
Tony Lynch,
No.
Stacy Marie Lawton,
No.
Lawrence Welkowitz,
No.
and Chairman Baldessaro.
Yes. So number 10.
Number 10.
Okay. Who will be doing the minority report?
that would be Representative Welkowitz.
Okay. Close the executive session on HR 9. And I want to thank everyone there for coming forward there. I'm glad we were able to do this in 2 days there. So now you can, do more stuff with other committees and many are involved in doing people's business. The next time we will get together is during the crossover. Okay, whenever the date is on that there. And otherwise, anyone have anything for me?
Mr. Chairman, for running a great meeting, great hearings, and for your service. I appreciate it for reaching across the island.
Well, we wanted to make sure, because a lot of people are working. I didn't want to tie them up for 3, 4, 5 days. On just for 9 bills, so otherwise Representative Massanelli would have beat me up if I did. Okay, yeah, is nothing else that we have? We're all set there, ranking member?
We are all set. Thank you very much. I only ask Representative Welkowitz, could you give me a call, please?
Will do.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Massanelli, I'm not sure whether they're going to take this on the floor. Let me know.
I will do that.
I will assign somebody there to speak on behalf of the OTP. Otherwise, we're not going to take it on the floor.
Okay, thank you.
HRs are not, you know how we are. HRs are not worth a fight there because they go to Washington and somebody's draw. So if we have to, go back and forth on the floor.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. You all have a great time and